Life is good. Okay, so what Kevin showed there was ideal. I've got a customer now using my product. Excellent. Okay, how did we get there? Let's take a look at that from the front end of things. Here's that same Inventor model. It's got some three-dimensional annotations. Well, model space. No, sorry, using AutoCAD terms. Some annotations that were showing up on the thumbnail, giving a bit of a clue what was going on. This is the current sizing. This is text linked to some parameters. This model was made taking advantage of parameters, where here in the user parameter area, these have been set up knowing that this is the type of thing I want the customer to be able to specify. Specifically, ones are marked as key. That's just going to help me out farther down the line. Also, I'll mention it now, any files, components making up this window assembly, it's a good idea to use the same naming for the parameters there. So I've got the parameters driving things. I've got a model state, as Kevin mentioned earlier, both primary, which is the one I need to build to, but also a simplified version, reducing the face count, making life easier for my customers. And I can have more than one here, but just stay with it for now. Built with basic Inventor techniques. I will say, though, that this needs to be a self-contained assembly, meaning it's going to have its own project file that's going to look at the folder where this is. Anything this assembly needs to be directly either in that same folder or down in the subfolder underneath. Think of it as just being the tip of the iceberg, and everything needs to be in the same iceberg. You can't be referencing other icebergs for parts. Now, this also has iLogic applied to it. Some of it is things along the lines of, maybe changing from one model state to another and pushing those model states down to any subassemblies or parts. Maybe just pushing the parameter values. If I make a change here, have it pushed down to the subcomponents, so on. Any of the design variations, I'm going to drive it this way. Now, if I have, as Kevin mentioned before, just a standalone piece that I'm putting out to my customers through the informed design, I don't need iLogic. It's a standalone part file in that case. Fantastic. But for an assembly, this is a great way of getting everybody to be on the same, on the same level at the same time. The other thing is this has some definitions added at the BIM level. Now, the window's very boring. I don't have any connections, any conduits, ducts, so on going on. Now, that kind of makes it nice from a demo point of view. Excuse me a second. So that was taken care of, but also there was a separate solid that was marked to be the void. And this is what Kevin used when he was cutting away from the wall. Again, roadmap in the future to have it so where you don't have to do that manual step. No, we're not in the future yet. Now, once I've got this working and flex it, make sure it works before you try and publish it. You really don't want to tick off your customers. I go to the Inform Design tab, and I've got all of one button. And this brings up the product definitions. And here you can see out of this file, I've produced two different things. One just went to one folder, another one to another folder, and I can say, hey, I want to show folks how this was done, so I'll highlight that one and edit it. And I'll take a moment while it populates everything like the thumbnail here. There we go. And I can say, what's the name of this? I can edit that. Is this going to be configurable by my customer? Yes or no? What's the file that's going out? Where's that root folder? And like I said, everything needs to be below that root folder. And what Inventor project file am I using? And here there's already a drawing template assigned to this. Basically, a drawing's already been made from this, and then as variations are made, I can get a drawing of each variation if I need to. The parameters, right now I've got this filtered to show just user parameters, but here's the ones that already came over as key and they were already adopted. What's not shown here, I didn't mention it before, it comes up in the slide a little bit later, but you can also help yourself if these parameters in the Inventor world are multi-value, such as what the frame finish is, clear versus painted, what the materials, hardwood versus softwood. That's going to help me on the next step when I go to the actual coding. In the coding area, I've got a couple of different, I'll call them environments. One where I'm setting up the way my form is going to look, and then the second one's where the magic actually happens. And this is using a style of programming, I believe it's Google's Blocky. I think I said that correct. Style of drag and drop, kind of like the way you can drag and drop snippets of code in Inventor, but this just takes it up a level. A lot easier to visualize. And I got various tools like logic and looping, and math, and so on. So while it's not really shown on this one, I could set things like a list of common values, such as what is the types of hinging, what's the type of finish, what's the type of material, and those came from those multi-value lists. Again, I didn't have to do any work there. I can also set limits to things like the opening size. Nope, sorry, you need a 60-meter long window, you're not going to get it this way. Set this up, I'm doing my testing. I'm not going to change anything here because, as you saw with Kevin, when I do a change, it needs to go out to the cloud, work through the Inventor model on the cloud, and then show it to me. And no, not during a live demo. But I can go and push values to the model just to see what would happen on the screen. And yes, it would take a few minutes. Steal the values that are currently being shown and refresh my fields here. Then, once I have things working the way I want, I would go and set what my customer is going to see. So in this case, what family and category that it's going to go to, that's set back over in the BIM content. And maybe I really don't want the end user to see that, so I could shut that off, let them only have that simplified model statement. It's just named BIM. There's nothing special about that. I could have called it simplified or something along those lines. Do I want to be able to bring back a solid model, an Inventor assembly? I could turn that on or not. Maybe not on the windows, but maybe on something that's a lot more complex. Might be useful. The drawing world. Do I want to be able to have it publish DWGs to that to the cloud folder, or just PDFs? And probably the thing I'm most interested in is getting back an accurate bill of material. So send me the bill for the full primary. And finally, I could get a neutral format, so not having my Inventor work geometry exposed. No, it's just the naked geometry. Here's the shape, here's the size, not why is it that way at all. So that's the type of information that I can request. As I'm developing things, I can go and save, or as I make a change, I could go ahead and hit publish. That's what puts it up onto the area. And Inventor model values don't equal the definition. Thank you for the error check in front of a live audience. So let's go and set everything back to default and push that. Thank you. Fingers crossed. Whoops. Publish checks, how to resolve, syncing and spacing. I missed one step on the sake. If it doesn't work this time, I'm going to do the classic cooking show. Let's see, let's update the form too. And once more, push. Thank you. I always compliment the software when it does. Oh, I'm missing some step somewhere. Then it's going to be saved. It's this, I've got something that I changed away from the default, and I'm trying to publish it, and it's not giving me information. Unfortunately, I don't have a screen capture of that next step handy. Nope. But what you would see is I would specify what project am I publishing to, what folder, well, what folder I want to go to. In fact, let me just go back here and waiting for the button to come up to take me out to the web. Oh, silly me, I've got it sitting down below here. There we go. So what I'd be doing on that publish is specifying what's the name of the project I'm going to, and then where am I putting it in there. So Kevin set up a vendors folder, and then hierarchy from that point of view. As he's publishing things, then I start getting information in here.